I'm on North Grove Street in Bowling Green at a place that used to be a storage unit. Now it's home to one of the best breweries in Northwest Ohio, the appropriately titled Bowling Green Beer Works. Let's go have a sud. 5 years in and going strong, Bowling Green Beer Works is the brainchild of Eugene, Oregon native Justin Marks.
I always had wanted to do it, and I had a lot of friends who went into the industry. I'd worked in brew pubs, mostly serving in Eugene, Oregon, and always wanted to do it. So we are now Bowling Green's oldest brewery, which gives us a lot of great, I don't know, we have a really deep bench because we've been brewing for a long time. We have some beers that are going to be 3 years old. We have a great depth and breadth. We have 13 taps. We operate more or less collectively, and we've had great brewers, and every brewer that's come through here and worked with me has taught me something, and I know I've taught them something. So it's been a lot of learning for all of us, and it keeps it really interesting.
I'm going to start with the Easy Win.
Easy Win Blonde, that's the place, yeah. The way to start, I'll tell you how to start. It matters because your palate will change if someone starts you with a sour, everything's blown, or starts you with a Coombs. So that's actually the way I poured them would be the way I would recommend they to be drank.
Justin required a unique brewery befitting his diverse roster of beers, and he found it in a small facility on Grove Street, not far from the historic Main Street of Bowling Green.
I mean, I basically looked at the zoning map and I said, where can I get away with this? And where can I afford to do this? And there was a little kind of underdeveloped spot here, not far from Main Street. I mean, a block and a half, really, from somebody's celebrating. It used to be a cool little carry-out back in the 70s and 60s, an ice house, and I literally, there was no rent for rent sign. I looked in the window, I saw a floor drain in one of the garages, and I said, that could be my brewery.
In the 5 years since opening, the brewery has expanded, adding additional seating outside, and most recently an art gallery, which allows guests to peruse works while they sip on suds.
I used to be an art dealer back in the day. I had a little business where I represented artists from, international artists actually, all over Austin, Texas. So I used to frame and hang paintings. So that's one of my loves. Visual arts is another one of my loves after beer. So I was just like, well, let's incorporate whatever, let's incorporate a visual art space that people could mill around and drink, and I thought it would be fun.
Tasting beers like the Professor Coombs IPA and Burning Couch Irish Red Ale was like a trip down memory lane for this BGSU alum. I used to live on Manville when I went to BGSU.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think we burned a couch, so I don't think it's named after me. But I remember seeing Professor Coombs around campus. It's funny because he would always be in like the student union. So when I came here the first time, I'm like, that looks like the guy that used to work at Bowling Green. And sure enough, it is. And I didn't know he was such a beer aficionado. But I'm glad he is because now he's got this named after him. So this is an IPA, right?
This is an IPA, real traditional West Coast style IPA.
I'm of the belief that drinking should be a communal experience. So I brought along Beacon Pulse and Trendy in Toledo host Allie Ray to join me on this adventure, which coincided with the brewery's release of Fest beer for Oktoberfest.
This is one of our seasonals right now, which is a German lager. We don't do a lot of lagers, but we had a little downtime in March, if you know what I mean. It's a beautiful beer, the Fest beer. People aren't that familiar with this Oktoberfest beer. They're familiar with the darker one, but this has a nice malt backbone and some Saaz hops to round it out.
Wow, that is super smooth, very light, but you're not missing out on any of those very fall-like flavors where it's very nutty and spicy as well. So you have to check out this BG Beer Works Fest beer.
What's the most fun part of owning a brewery?
Definitely getting to know the patrons and seeing people have a good time, celebrating. They always say, the joke is, right, that alcohol is a recession-proof business because you celebrate a marriage with alcohol, you celebrate a death with beer, you celebrate a new child with beer, and you celebrate a new job with beer and you celebrate
A divorce with beer.
with beer. It's just that's the best part, is like forming a community. People get together who may not have known each other. They might come in for a pint 3 times a week, seeing that you're like contributing to a place where people get together outside of religion or politics or anything like that, and just have camaraderie, you know?
Yeah. Since beer can be drank, you know, for celebratory times and bad times and pretty much any times, I'm gonna quote Homer Simpson here and say, "To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems."
Absolutely.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, mate. Yeah.
Thank you very much.